Ready to dive into a topic a lot of us think about. Why should we care about the environment? That's what we're looking at today. And let me tell you, this episode of Sustainability Talks, Emma and Jason really get into it.
Oh, I'm ready. Hit me with it.
So Jason, he kind of kicks things off by saying, we got to stop looking at the environment. Like, it's just a pretty picture, right? Like, it's an Instagram post.
Yeah.
It's our life support system, he says. I mean, everything we need to survive comes from the environment.
Yeah, no, totally. It's easy to forget that going about our day-to-day lives, we breathe the air, drink the water, eat the food, all of it comes from nature. And when that's threatened,
Well, that's exactly what Jason says. Like, imagine if the air was too polluted to breathe easily, or you couldn't drink the water without getting sick, and we ran out of food. It's not some crazy dystopian future. It could happen if we don't take care of the environment.
it's true. And it's not just about surviving either. Jason talks about how amazing nature is too, forests, oceans, mountains. Those places can make you feel a sense of wonder and peace, a connection to something bigger than yourself.
That's such a good point. It's not just like the physical stuff we need, but the mental and emotional benefits too.
Mm.
Like when you see a huge canyon for the first time or just listen to a river flowing, it makes you feel something right. Those experiences change us.
They totally do. Remember that study they did? Just looking at pictures of nature can actually lower your stress levels.
Mhm.
Imagine if you actually get out into nature. It's not just a luxury, it's part of being human.
Okay, so then Emma comes in with a whole other angle, the legacy thing. What are we leaving behind for our kids and grandkids? She's worried, and I get it. What kind of planet are we leaving for them? It makes you think about the consequences of what we're doing today.
It's not just about us anymore, right? It's about making sure future generations have a livable planet. The choices we make today about consumption travel, how we treat the earth, it all adds up.
And it's not some far-off problem either, Emma and Jason.
Yeah.
They get real about climate change. Like, it's happening now. Rising temperatures, more crazy hurricanes and wildfires. We see it everywhere.
Exactly. This isn't just an idea, it's in the news every single day. The ice caps are melting, sea levels are rising, entire ecosystems are struggling to survive because everything's changing so fast. It really makes you think.
And it's not just climate change either. Emma and Jason, they go on to list all these other environmental problems like pollution in the air and the water and the soil. Plastic is everywhere too. It's almost like we're drowning in garbage.
I know, it's a lot. They talked about deforestation too, and that one really got to me. You know how forests are like the lungs of the planet?
Yeah, they clean the air, right?
Exactly. They suck up carbon dioxide and release oxygen, but we're cutting them down so fast. And Jason made this comparison to a Jenga tower.
Oh yeah, I like that one. Each species is like a block.
Right, and if you remove too many blocks, what happens? The whole thing collapses.
It's a really good way to visualize it.
Hmm.
Taking away one species might not seem like a big deal, but it can impact the whole ecosystem, like a domino effect.
And we need those ecosystems for everything. Food, medicine, clean air, clean water. It's not about saving just one species, it's about saving the whole web of life.
So at this point, I'm starting to feel kind of overwhelmed. Like, where do we even begin? It seems like such a huge problem. And actually, Emma says she feels that way sometimes too. But then the conversation shifts. They both agree that things are bad, but there are solutions.
It's so easy to just feel despair, right? But Emma and Jason, they really stress that we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to solve everything overnight. It's about making better choices in our everyday lives. All those little things can add up.
Like, I can't single-handedly stop climate change, but I can try to create less garbage every day.
Right. What were some of the examples they gave?
Well, reducing waste is a big one, like using reusable bags and water bottles instead of plastic ones.
Oh, yeah, and those little coffee pods. They're so wasteful.
Right? It's about changing our mindset from it's just one bag to every little bit makes a difference. Imagine if everybody thought that way.
And saving energy. They said we should be more aware of how much electricity we use, like turning off lights when we leave a room, unplugging chargers. Little things become big things when millions of people do them. And you can swap out your old light bulbs for LED ones. Those use way less energy.
And Jason, he's all about the bikes. He was like a spokesperson for cycling or something, I swear.
Well, he's not wrong. It's good for the environment and good exercise. And speaking of choices, they talked about something that I think makes people uncomfortable sometimes. You know what we eat.
Oh yeah, the whole meat thing.
Yeah, Emma especially had a lot to say about that.
She did not hold back.
She didn't. Basically, our love of burgers and bacon is seriously hurting the planet.
It's kind of hard to hear that, but she's right.
Yeah, it's one of those things we don't like to think about. But the way they presented it wasn't about guilt. It was like, hey, here's an opportunity to make a difference. You don't have to become vegan overnight. Even cutting back a little bit can help.
Like meatless Mondays. I've heard of
Yeah.
people doing that.
Exactly. Every little bit counts. So we've been talking about the things we can do as individuals. But Emma and Jason, they made it really clear that it's not enough. We need bigger systemic change. And that means speaking up, making our voices heard.
So it's not just about changing our own habits, but trying to change the system, too.
Exactly. Vote for people who care about the environment, support businesses that are trying to do the right thing. Talk to your friends and family about this stuff.
It's like raising awareness, right? Getting people talking about that.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. It affects everyone.
So where does this leave us? I'll be honest. Starting this deep dive, I felt kind of overwhelmed. Like, how can we possibly fix all these problems? But listening to Emma and Jason talk about it, I feel, I don't know, hopeful, I guess.
Hopeful. And like we can actually do something about it. Because even if the actions we take seem small, when millions of people are doing them, it adds up to real change.
And that's what I really liked about this conversation. It wasn't just doom and gloom. It was a call to action.
Yeah, knowledge is only powerful if you do something with it. Right.
Yeah.
So we've got all this information about the problems and the challenges. Now it's time to go out and actually do something.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on environmental protection, I'm left with this one thought. It's more of a question, really. If we think of the Earth as our home, what can we each do in our own little corner of the world to take care of it? Because even if it seems small, it matters.
It really does. Every little bit counts.
And that's it for this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us.